Welcome to the Grovecast, a municipal podcast hosted by the City of Cottage Grove. We are here to demystify city government, make it more accessible to you, while also showcasing the real human beings who work every day providing services to residents. I am your co-host, Phil Jentz, the city's communications manager.
Hey, Phil. And I am Emily Schmitz, the city's community development director.
Hi, Emily.
Hey, Phil.
How are you today?
Well.
Hey, guys, don't forget about me.
He beat us to
I'm
it.
Dave Thiede. I'm council member Dave Thiede.
How did I not know that you were going to throw us a little bit of a curveball?
We had to
Councilmember
know.
Thiede.
And this is my first time. I am so excited to be here to talk with you guys.
I can feel the excitement, and I am
It's
excited
emanating.
as well.
This
Yes.
is fantastic. I was just we were gonna try to lead into it, but our guest, he's just
Chomping at the bit. He couldn't wait.
He's
Right?
been here since who knows what time. I kid, Dave.
Well, Councilmember Thiede, welcome.
Thanks.
How are you doing today?
I am doing great. It's a sunny day outside, and we're here to be able to talk to all these folks and so forth, and give them some good information. So it's all good.
And I do want to say, I agree. I'm excited to get into it and jump into it with you. I would just as a quick recording note, I think we're in a slightly different location today. So if we sound different, or if you hear like doors opening or closing in the background, we're in City Hall. We're not in the normal True Lens Community Media Studio. There's a little bit of work happening and moving happening. So we're in City Hall today.
That's
we're on
okay.
our home turf, so to speak.
We are, and it's intermediate. And once they get settled, it's going to be fantastic. So we'll be patient as they transition.
And don't be alarmed if Councilmember Thiede, you hear like a Sawzall doing some kind of wood work in the background.
No problem.
It just means progress, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Right.
Yeah.
Well, Councilmember Thiede, you threw us a little bit of curveball jumping in with your greeting, which I love. If I could throw a little curveball back at you both, a topic we haven't actually jumped in with to start the podcast, and I was thinking about this the other day, is, we all work for the City of Cottage Grove. We either live here or grew up here, or we work here, obviously. So Cottage Grove, Emily, we'll start with you maybe. What's your earliest or favorite memory of Cottage Grove?
Oh my goodness. Well, Phil, that would go back to like 2012.
Okay.
And I would say my earliest memory of Cottage Grove is during my internship back in 2012. They kindly hired me. They thought I'd be able to do some good in the code enforcement world. And my fondest memory is the old City Hall. And Dave, you can probably recall, you've been around long enough, but that old City Hall, it just held so many memories. As questionable as some of the areas were, that is one of my fondest memories.
Okay.
That's
Old City Hall.
Old City Hall.
And we're in New City Hall
We
today,
are in
so-
New City Hall today. Yeah, but that old City Hall had some good memories.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and you make a very good point that I have been around for quite a long time. I mean, it's actually I think back now, and we built a house in Cottage Grove in '98. Yeah, '98.
Oh, wow.
So what is that? That's getting to be about 28 years in one spot. The longest I'd lived anywhere before that was about 6 years because I was changing different jobs and promotions and things like that. So we finally got to Cottage Grove, and it was a great place to settle down. And 3 kids graduated through the school systems here, so it was fantastic. I guess, and so the first memory I have, I guess, was when I was actually looking for houses and where to build, because we were looking in Woodbury and so forth, and came down to Cottage Grove and in the Hidden Valley area and so forth, and found that I could, just like snap of a finger, I could save about 30 grand, and anybody that knows me knows that my dad raised me to be pretty squeaky. And so I'm probably sometimes a little too tight with the money issues, but hey, it's the way it is. And so, yeah, we've been here a long time, seen a fair amount of changes.
I was going to say, Dave, in that area, I would have loved to drive through there in 1998?
Yeah.
I mean, certainly not what you see today, but that's a testament to all the work that you've done.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a long time ago when you say just before the turn of the century.
It does.
I like that. Yeah. It's all in how you frame it.
It is.
It's all in how you frame it.
Different
matters.
perspective.
Right?
Yep.
Well, mine I have to say is I grew up in Cottage Grove, proud Cottage Grovian, and growing up, we used to ride our bikes down East Point Douglas Road, and we went to Soft Top Ice Cream,
Yeah.
which is now, I believe, an insurance.
Right, and actually, he just retired. I think
Really?
a different
Jackie.
State Farm insurance guy is going to take over the building. I thought I
Mm,
heard,
Oh, I
but
didn't know
that
that.
makes sense.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, so we used to go down there and get. I think they called them. It was a little bit of a Dairy Queen kind of
Spin-off.
spin-off, if you will, but they called
Yeah.
them glaciers, I think, instead of
yeah.
blizzards.
That's right.
And I get a cookie dough glacier, and it had these huge chunks of cookie dough in
Oh
it.
my
It was
gosh.
so good.
Well,
They
you've
don't.
certainly seen a lot more changes than I have. Then
Well, on that
back,
Yeah,
stretch of
that
road, yeah.
was.
I mean, there's
yeah,
our old haunts that we used to ride our, Huffies to or whatever, and
Yeah.
they're not
yeah,
there anymore. So,
Our old Huffies.
yeah.
Yeah, I could
yeah.
see that, Phil. Yeah. Fantastic. You know, the other topic we always chat about with our guests, Phil, which is a good one. I'm curious to hear what Dave has to say about it,
Oh,
but we talk about superpowers a lot, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
And I am so curious to know, Dave, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, it'd definitely be that I could fly.
Really?
nice.
Oh yeah,
I agree with you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I've said,
So
flying before.
yeah, so it'd be great just to be pick up, and just zoom off into the sky, and I mean, even after I graduated from college, when I first went working with Rockwell International down in Iowa, I actually got into the flying club, and they had these
Really?
little Grumman A60 trainer type deals, and they were they flew like rocks, but they even had a little message that, well, if you
You're like,
go
that's
into
dangerous,
go into
Dave.
a stall and you do more than one and a half spin, then good luck, see you later. But so it was
You
great
were,
though. I,
you were willing to take your chances.
well,
Huh?
no, I didn't
Usually,
go,
good luck, see
but
you later is not a great slogan for
no,
flying.
but I tell you, for one of the first times that I went up, you're supposed to, when you do a stall, you're supposed to actually put the power back in, then drop your nose. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, I dropped the nose first and then put the power back in. So we lost a couple hundred feet real quick. And I had to clean the seats of the plane when we got back down. But so it was, but I loved flying, but it turns out it was, even at that time, it was quite expensive, and you
Yeah.
almost had to commit part of your budget to it. And
Yeah.
and then I decided to get married. I decided to buy a house, and it was just too many things at one time. So the flying had to go, but
Something had to
okay.
give, and the flying
something
was
had
it.
to give.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
That-
so he gave up flying, and I'm curious, Dave. So then, how did you get into, serving your local community? I'm curious because you've been
Well,
doing it quite some time.
yeah. So, and with that, my career has been more into like management, things like that. I like, I kind of like to be in charge at times, but, so, it was, around the time that the boys had gotten their Eagle, ranks and Cubs, Scouts and so
Eagle Scout,
forth.
yeah.
And I was very involved in Scouts. And then that was like 2000. They graduated in 2003, and so it was kind of like, well, what should I get involved in? And I loved helping the city that I live in, and so forth, and so I kind of looked, and I was going to look at getting onto the planning commission first, but I ended up on the public works for a year, and then I was on the planning commission for 5 years.
Okay.
And then somebody said, "Well, you should run for council. It might be a good time." And I said, "Well, I hate politics, and I hate the campaigning. The last time I campaigned anything for was like in high school, and I don't think I even won. But finally I got convinced. Well, okay, well, so I got the signs, I got the stuff, and so actually in 2010 got onto the council.
Okay.
Actually won.
And
20
here
in
you
2010 it
are,
was.
2010.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
16 years later.
yeah. So this is my 16th year. Yeah. Yeah. So
Well, happy 16th year of
thanks.
service to you.
Thanks. And
So-
I really enjoy it. I mean, I got to admit, I don't put up with the politics. I wouldn't go any higher than this. There's too many things in state and federal that they just don't know how to get along quite right. One of the things that makes the council we have right now so good is that, I mean, we don't all agree. We've got our different opinions on things, but we talk it out and look at things, and we know how to kind of compromise with each other, and we work together, and we all come to pretty much to an agreement. And so over the years here, and maybe that's a testament of why I'm still on council after 16 years, is that people have kind of enjoyed or liked the group that's in there, and things have been going pretty good, I think.
So you've already that is interesting, and you've already kind of touched on this a little bit, but you've been on council for 16 years now, and
Mhm.
so for those, I think people can conjure up some images in their mind about what it's like to serve on city council, or maybe they've been to a city council meeting, or they're watching them online. So, but tell the folks out there what it is like to serve on city council. What is that role like? What do you do?
Yeah, so I think for me, the thing that I like most is I like development, and the different city planning, and some of those kind of things, the businesses, the roads, even in my when I'm like almost like a hobby. Sometimes I'll take a look. Well, let's see, where should that road go, or where was that road before? So that's the thing that I tend to really get a lot of enjoyment out of, some of that design and speculation type of things, and so forth. But there's a lot of other things in terms of making sure that the city and the services, and that the people do have good public safety and public works, and all that sort of stuff. Good planning. I tend to be more of a planner with some of my technical background and so forth. So I think it's great. Like when we developed the East Ravine plan and things like that, we knew that it wasn't going to necessarily come out exactly how we planned it back in I think it was like 2005 or
Yeah.
6 something,
Yeah.
but we knew that, hey, we had the idea there, and it'll kind of shape itself as people decide to sell their land, and things, and so that try to get it so that a homeowner that thought that they were going to have other homes by them don't all of a sudden end up with this big conglomerate chemical plant, or something like that, when
Right.
where they didn't expect it to be.
Right.
So that's what I like, those things that, again, I don't get as involved in some of the political
Mm.
type stuff by, looking at some of the legislative, but again, that's why it's good on a council to look at what people's skills and what people's desires are, and try to really see if you can't get, cover all the bases,
Right.
with the people that are on council, so that together our skills and our what things that we like to focus on and so forth kind of work together to make it a complete package. And obviously, a big part of it is also listening to the community, listening to the staff, and bringing all that information together to really make good, productive decisions. And some of them are real easy,
Yeah.
and as you know, some of them are not
Complex. We'll call them
Yeah.
complex,
complex.
Dave, right? Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
Which, and speaking of complex, Dave, I mean, the East Ravine Master Plan, that is certainly complex. And I'm curious, over your, do I call it tenure on the council?
I think you do.
Yeah.
And you
Right?
just did. So
I just did. We're going to make it work. So, curious, Dave, do you have a project that you worked on that you felt the most success from?
well, actually, I think and I was thinking about that a little bit, and the thing that I think I'm most proud of, to be honest, is actually, when I first got involved, because I was in management for most of my career and so forth, and looking at people and how people interact. When I first got on council, there was this program called Good to Great, right? But it was a structured program and things like that, and sure, it was probably good. It probably had some good things, but I don't think you really needed to have something like that in writing. You needed to actually get it within the people that are actually, running the city and so forth. And I think that's what I'm most proud of. When you look at back in the, early 2000s, and compare that to the organization now, I think back when I first got on, there was a lot more situations where, well, somebody was saying, well, I'm not going to say anything about that, or otherwise I'll get yada yada yada. But and we're now, I definitely see people are more willing to help each other and work together, and that actually lends for greater productivity and also a much better working environment. And I guess you guys would tend to be able to verify that or not. I mean, you're in it every day. I see it from about a 5,000-foot level, right,
Right.
type of deal.
Right.
But from my perception anyway, it appears that it's kind of like a night and day. And I'd like to think that, hey, I had part in making that the organization better.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That is really cool.
Kind of building on that, and you kind of listed earlier when we were talking about kind of when you first got into public service and on the city council, you listed things like roads, developments,
Yeah.
housing developments, planning, and I don't think he was just saying that because you're here, Emily,
I
Director of Community Development.
I'd hope he was just, fluffing my ego. A
Emily
little
had
bit,
written
but
that down and slid
Well,
it
I
across the
did.
table.
I
No, I'm
did.
kidding.
I
I'm
said
There's
kidding.
a little bit of that too, right?
I'm
But
kidding.
no.
There is. Yeah. We won't
So-
tell anybody else.
So of all those issues that you're interested in, planning roads, et cetera, is there one that you would pick as your most favorite?
I think my most favorite probably hasn't happened yet.
Oh,
One of the things that I'd love to see happen is like in Old Cottage Grove, whether we could find a developer that could actually build some buildings right there along that would look like some of the old downtowns,
Mm.
kind of make it almost more like an old Cottage Grove downtown, right? And have obviously different businesses, and you could have the living upstairs and businesses down and so forth. And I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I come
I
up with a
do.
lot of these I unload them on you guys all the time, and yeah, we should do this or we should do this. Oh, geez, Dave's coming again.
it's
We'll
easy.
see what
right?
he's got to say now.
easy,
but-
It's
right?
always, yeah. But Dave, but that's part of the creativity and the thought process to think outside the box. And that's why we're all here, right? Even
That's
as an
right.
organization, as elected officials, we're all here to kind of navigate.
So while Dave's kind of traveling in the clouds with some of these ideas, we've got good people that are soundly on the ground that can pull some of maybe a little bit of that
Yeah.
out of the sky and
Yeah.
say, oh yeah, we can use a little bit of that what Dave's coming at.
But
us
that goes back to Dave's original point: is everybody brings their strength, and we
Right,
true.
all bring
So
it
true.
together.
And there's a little bit of that that's, I think, maybe not required, but it definitely is
Yeah.
needed in government, especially local
Yeah.
government. You've got people on council, people on staff, and so on. I think you need a little bit of that. You need a little of like, well, we have to keep the trains running on time, right? We've got to
Yep.
keep the operations going and keep budgets, tight as we can and be good stewards of dollars and all that stuff. And also you got to be a little wild, a little like
Yeah.
A little
a little
wild.
creative and a little
There
like,
you go.
well, what really can we do here and have a vision for stuff? And I think that's neat.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
that's cool.
because actually that's a good point, because some of the craziest ideas people have sometimes, and as way out as they are, it's a lot of times part of it'll actually solidify to become reality. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and it ends up being the best thing that could have happened.
There you go.
So, Dave, the hardest question of the day,
Uh-oh.
and we're quickly running out of time. It goes,
Really?
I know
It goes
very
fast.
I
fast.
thought
Yeah.
it was just a couple minutes so far that we've
Yeah.
been talking about.
But the hardest question of the day: what's your favorite food?
Oh gosh,
He has to think about that.
my favorite food would probably be like ribeye steak, beef, something like that.
Ah.
Although I've seen a few years and so forth, and some of that that gets a little bit fatty. I get told that I can't eat as much beef as I used to.
Now, are you
It
like
makes me sad.
charcoal grill the steak? Or are you
Oh, yeah,
cooking it in the pan?
I grill all year round.
Okay.
Oh, okay. That's where you
All
get the
year
good
round. The
The
flavor
grill is
from.
on the deck. Yeah.
so,
yeah.
so the grill is half buried
Just-
in snow, and you're still out there.
Well, it's on the deck, so it's shut.
You just-
But even this past weekend, my daughter and so forth was in town, and we actually cooked steak and chicken on the grill to make fajitas.
Oh,
so-
that sounds great, Dave. All right.
So yeah, it can be. In fact, it's better when it's cold versus when it's raining, so forth like
That's
that.
very true. Well,
So-
Dave, if you're ever concerned why Phil and I are standing on your deck,
There you go.
I was going to say.
it's
yeah.
because we're over there.
If you're driving down Hinton,
Well,
you got
come-
your window down, and you smell some chicken thighs grilling, and you might be cooking. You might be smelling Councilmember
Yes,
Thiede's
probably.
cooking.
There you go, and just hey, everybody's welcome. Stop
Right?
by. I'll have
Noted.
some beer or some wine, or maybe if you like kombucha. Is that the right way to say that?
I think you got it.
I don't
Yeah.
like kombucha,
Yeah,
but
that's it.
But hey, I'd find some for you.
He's got
There you go.
options.
I love that you
Got
brought it
options.
up then to say you don't like it.
Yeah, the kids do. Actually, the kids get all fancy sometimes with their cooking and so forth. I'm pretty simple meat and potatoes type of guy.
But you got a
It's
little
like-
something for everyone.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
you're good. You're a
perfect.
good host. Then, it
Yeah.
sounds
There you
like.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Councilmember Thiede, Dave, thanks so much for joining us. We did really appreciate having you. Thanks for coming down to City Hall and chatting about, your tenure.
You see
There you
your
go.
To take
experience.
your
and your
word.
tenure,
My
Dave.
10-year plus 6.
Yes, just
Yeah.
after the turn of the century, I think is what
There
we
you go.
talked
Right.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for us. But again, thank you. We'll let you get back to the rest of your day, whatever that entails for you.
Well, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it. It's nice to have a little chat, and reminisce a little bit about some things and so forth. So
Yeah, and great to learn a little bit more about you and your background too. So thank you.
great.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Well, thank you all for listening. This has been the Grovecast, a City of Cottage Grove municipal podcast. You can catch episodes monthly, and to listen or download, find us at CottageGroveMN.gov/thegrovecast or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, as always, to True Lens Community Media for producing the Grovecast, and stay tuned for our next episodes where we'll move on to other departments, city services, or other topics. Thanks for listening.